Pleasant day to my esteemed viewers and welcome to the very first episode of Child Talk. I'm your host and with me is a renowned productivity coach, public speaker and consultant who, aside from being a computer science student of Bowen University, is the founder of Apex Pathway. He was a guest speaker at TEDx Bowen University 2024 and he has over 4,000 followers and subscribers across his social media platforms. He is the person of Tega Abiwi.
Hi guys. Hi.
Good day, Tega. How do you say it?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Like, okay. You look nice, that's all.
You look nice up.
So, how do you feel being here?
I feel good. Of course, I don't know what to expect because I don't know any of the questions, but then expect it.
Right, so let's get down to it. I'll be talking to you about personal growth and personal development. So firstly, what does personal development mean to you?
Well, I think it's a very broad term, right? And it could mean different things for different people. But genuinely, what I think it means, or at least what it has always meant to me, is there's sort of like a person that you see in your head, right? And there's the person that you currently are, and then there's a distance between those two people. And personal development is the journey of becoming the person that you sort of like see in your head and vision, basically.
Secondly, what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned about self-improvement?
Well, I think that a number of people don't decide or follow through with personal development. So it's not a new term, right? Like obviously everyone knows about it. And if you're in a university setting, you sort of like see it from time to time and all these type of things. But then I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is there's a system or methodology towards personal development. There are certain things that you can do and you ought to do to actually become the kind of person that you want. And for a long period of my life, I didn't really know this of like doing almost anything, right? Watching YouTube videos, reading, trying to read books, that's random books and all these type of things. And the process was very scattered, right? So I think the biggest lesson really is that there's a method to it, right? If you do things scattered, you get scattered results and all these type of things, right? So there's a methodology to it. I think that's like my biggest lesson, basically.
Alright. So you talked about you tried reading books. So what book or movie has had the biggest impact on your personal development?
Okay. That's a really good question. For movies, I don't watch movies. I don't know. It's not even like movies are really good, right? I actually have nothing against them. It's just because I mean we'll talk about this later in the conversation, but because I love what I do so much, that's my leisure. So people would ask like, "Oh, what do you do for fun?" Like that's what I do for fun. Like, work is what I do for fun. Right. But I don't know. I could watch maybe like 3 movies in a year. And that seems to. So I haven't really picked. And if I'm doing that, I'm not watching movies that are helping my personal development. If I'm doing that, maybe like the old franchise, like the Prison Break. I watched that last year, right? Like from season 1 through to the end. Solid stuff. Or maybe Money Heist. You serious? That's that. Or maybe Money Heist. Things like that basically. But then generally, no. So for books, I think the best book that I have read on personal development is The 12-Week Year by Brian Moran and someone else. So basically what he talks about in the book is how to structure your goals and how to rewire your mindset. So how we come into the new year when everyone is setting like yearly goals, you have 10, 15, 20, 50 goals that you have for the year. And you get to like February, we're in March now, so you get to March and most people already forget about their goals and all these type of things. So what he talks about primarily in the book is instead of setting 12-month goals, that you set 12-week goals instead. right? So you break it down into 12 weeks. Only that you're not thinking of it as a quarter, you're thinking of it as a year, right? And what that does is it makes you want to do stuff faster because now 1 week is now 1 month.
Yes.
Right? So instead of the procrastination that would come with 12 months, like, oh, okay, well, I still have a full month to do this and everything, right? You then have shorter time, so it makes the execution a lot faster, right? It talks about how to do it, so you measure your progress every week and all these type of things. But I think like that's the best book. It's helped me, carry out more stuff in terms of goal setting and execution, basically. Really good. You should.
Alright. Are there any mentors or role models that helped shape your growth?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Like I thought if I should eliminate this question or not, because I don't think so that much, but like.
Well, to be fair, like it's not even that I am against mentors. Of course, I'm not, right? Currently, in fact, I have a business mentor, Bulu Fwande, right? So it's like I'm very, 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 very aware that a mentor has the ability to accelerate your progress, right? But I don't know. It just seemed like when I began to get on this personal and self-development journey, most of the people around me were not doing it to the degree that I was doing it. Because people around me were always reading books and things like that. But then I wasn't just for a lot of people, personal development seemed to be like a means to an end, right? So there's this kind of, so maybe they want to, you want to, give me a career. Okay, maybe you want to become a doctor, right? So you know that there are some habits that you need to have to really pass through medical school efficiently, as it were, right? So that was what people were doing. But for me, I was focusing on personal, like, for some reason, exactly. Right, and it's not like that was a bad thing, but it just seemed like that was what I was doing at the time, and I didn't know anyone, that was doing it. Right, I think I started in 2021. That was when I went full in, and it was so crazy at the time. I went off social media for like a year and a half. Right, like I left every social media, WhatsApp inclusive. Right, and I was just trying to, again. There wasn't so much progress. It was good on my mental health, but there wasn't so much progress because I was not following a system or structure. I was not doing anything that came to my head, right? But then everything that I sort of do now was because of like trial and error, really, right? I don't think I can attribute it to any one person, or but maybe people that I watched on YouTube, right? Ali Abdal, Iman Gaji a bit into like a very, very toxic masculinity.
I'm like, oh my god.
Right, and then people like that, but then for like people that are close up, not
okay, let's start with Alright, what's the personal development concepts you think people should know about? Like the experience that you think it's like an unpopular opinion and you people should know about?
I don't know if I have unpopular opinions. I would think because I have a number of them in my head. I know it's one about it very popular and we already talked about it for a little while, right? But then people still don't seem to listen, and it's basically reading books. Like it's crazy how much people like it baffles me. Why don't you? What's your problem, right? And I know why you're smiling like that. Like if I tell you the amount of books I got read,
no,
I meant that to motivate me. I wanted that to motivate me to be literally, But I actually sometimes they concern because everyone wants to become something. I've not met anyone that does not have, even if it's not structured, because there are people that don't know exactly what they want to do. But everyone wants to become something. Exactly. And there are people that have documented their ideas, their findings, their research somewhere. And sometimes, it's about 200, 300 pages. Then you do it what's the problem? Like, how do you want to get it done? You already have a map. Exactly. Like, it's really crazy. One of the things that's helped me read a lot more books, especially this year, not as much as you shall, but read more books is I sort of now read books based on my need. Right. So one of the things that I'm doing is building my coaching program for like productivity and you know, personal development for entrepreneurs, right? But then I was having some like gaps in knowledge. Like there were certain things that I just didn't know. Like how exactly am I going to do this? How am I going to fulfill, the service that people pay for, and all these type of things. And immediately I went to look for like a book on coaching, right? And it's sort of like how I do it. When I wanted to start building my personal brand, I knew that it wasn't just about posting. Like there were specific things that you needed to know.
But like entire books.
Exactly, and I got that, and I read like 4 or 5 days. And it wasn't even because it's not because I'm fast reader, it's simply because I needed the information for something. So I think like personal development, maybe this that I'm saying maybe is a bit unpopular, maybe people don't talk about it a lot, is read books based on like needs, right? So look at your not just general reading. Of course, there are general books, like late Dr. Miles Monroe, those are very generic, John C. Maxwell, very generic, right? Maybe Jack Canfield, generic as well. So you should read those books, right? They're really good. But in addition to that, even more than that, I think, scan through your life. What are the areas that you want to improve on, and like, go ahead, headlong on that.
Oh, thank you. And what's the most common obstacle you see people face in their self-improvement journey?
I think the biggest for me is that, okay, I'll use myself as an example. So for a long part, like, I'm 21. So for like the most part of my life, I was very random. When I mean random, I mean like my outputs, the things that I was doing and the things that I was learning, nothing was structured. So when I decided to, get into personal development in 2021, I wanted to do everything at once. In fact, one thing that I didn't mention about my social media detox was not because I wanted to improve my mental health, right? It's still something I'm trying to learn, like taking my mental health seriously, because I've always overlooked it. But that wasn't why. It was because I didn't have money, right? I still don't do, but I didn't have. Sorry. I didn't have money, like at all, and I had taken a gap year. I finished secondary school in 2020. So in 2021, I was taking a gap year. COVID affected some things, so I was taking a gap year, and I didn't want to. I wanted to come back with a bang, like genuinely. That was why.
Yeah.
In fact, the social media detox was not meant to last that long. It was meant to be for like 3 months, right? And by that time, I would have been financially free and all these type of things, right? So that was why. And what I was not able to do for like, how old was I at the time? I think maybe 17. What I was not able to do for like 17 years of my life, I wanted to do in 3 months, right? And obviously that didn't work, right? Failure upon failure, and that's why it lasted for a year and a half. And even at the end of the year and a half, I wasn't financially free. I just had something that I was doing that made me comfortable enough to come back online. But then I think the biggest mistake that I see people make is when you eventually want to start taking your life seriously, you want to do everything that you could not do in so many years, now in a few months. So now what's going to happen is that you find that that's not possible, because it's not. You can't go, from that to that, it's not just possible, right? So what happens then is, a spiral of, unfortunate happenstance, right? So you learn a skill, you try to monetize it, you find out that's not how it works, so you drop it into another thing. You keep jumping from one thing to the other, and then maybe for some people you eventually like give up with the whole bit and just follow the normal traditional path set for us, right? So I think that's the major problem, and it's something that I'm even still learning now, because I'm really like fast paced, right? I put out a post. I don't know if it's gone out yet, but a post on LinkedIn, how to like build habits, and one of the easiest ways or the shortest ways to build habits is, instead of going with intensity, go with consistency. So if you've not been reading books before, instead of saying you want to read 40 pages in a day, just do 5. Do that consistently for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Like take step by step.
Like let it be so little that it's a no-brainer for you not to do it. Like 5 pages is not that hard for anybody, right? So you do 5 pages daily, then you find that it's like ridiculously easy, and you up it and keep doing that, right? So it's something that I'm learning, even though I wrote that, because I think of something I want to do it almost immediately, right? I'm doing it with so much intensity, but then I realized that if if I've not been able to do it for like 3 years, why do I want to now do it anymore? Why not like spread it, spread the learning, spread the execution, and give myself more time to actually succeed? That way you don't get discouraged quickly. So I think that's the biggest mistake I see.
I think I've learned some things.
You will be.
What else? Alright. As someone who has invested so much into himself to become who he is today, how does helping others profit you? Like, you've bought books. Books are not like cheap, books are expensive.
Yeah, they are.
They're expensive, they're an investment. You have attended conferences, you have paid for them, probably traveled to them. So adding everything you've spent to invest in yourself, pouring it into someone like me now that's always calling you for, like, I have this idea, take like this. So you giving me advice for free, like, how does it benefit you? How do you feel about doing that?
Yeah. The thing is, and I think everyone would need to understand this, that and it's what I said at the start, that what I do for work is very enjoyable to me. Like, I love it so much.
You love working.
I love working. I enjoy it. I really wouldn't. I can't envisage staying away from it for a while, and it's because I found what I love. I think the Japanese phrase for that is an ikigai, right? So basically, a combination of things that you want to be doing. So because I enjoy doing it, right? It doesn't really pinch me to offer, give people advice, help people out for free. It's not something I even think about. Of course, and this is where the balance is a number of people take it overboard and want to solve all their problems at once, whereas I have a program for that because we're in school. I just allow it because we're in school. Let me use school first. I'll change my number. But I genuinely love helping people, right? Because I don't know, I just love it. And then secondly, it helps me as well. So it's something that I plan to do maybe next week. I think the video would have already gone out by the time. Or the video, I would have already done it before the video goes out. So next week I plan to put on my status. I plan to help, I think, one business owner with their entire, one entrepreneur as it were, with their entire productivity system for I think 2 weeks for free. Right. And what it does, of course, there's an end to it. It's not something I'm just doing because I'm a charitable person. There's an end to it, which is to get testimonials and also to have an SOP, that's a system of operations, to know what to do. So what I'm saying in essence is, when you help people, you sort of discover more about what you should be doing and better ways to improve that. So each time I give someone business advice, right, I then discover what problems that each of them face, all the people that ask me for advice, what problems do all of them face, and I find that, okay, it's a common problem. So if I want to create a product around that, or if I wanted to create an offer around that, right, it's much easier because I've helped so much people that I already know the problem. So it's two ways. The first way is that I genuinely just love helping people. I love the satisfaction that comes with it, especially with personal development and especially with young people, because I've been there and I know how it is to try to navigate these things. And I genuinely wish I had someone to help me out at shorten the time. And then secondly, on the business side of things, you're able to create actual systems that work because you've helped people for free, basically.
Okay. Alright. My last question.
Okay.
Yeah. What exactly does tegaabiri.com do? Can start with you.
Yeah. Okay, so tegaabiri.com is my personal brand's website for now. We plan to expand that in coming months, right? So if you check, it's just a single page that leads, and if you click a link, it takes you to where you actually make payment for my coaching services and all the rest. But it's my personal brand. It should ideally have everything that I do, but for now, all it does have is my consultations and everything, right? So it's
consultation fee.
and my and my consultation fees basically, then has reviews. So it's basically like a one-stop shop for that, and because it's tegagree.com, it makes it more okay. I think one of the things that I plan to do, or that I'm working on already, not plan, one of the things that I'm already working on is to make my face, my name, and put it everywhere. Like it should be, from Instagram to YouTube to X to LinkedIn. I don't like TikTok, right? So these four. I wish I said I don't have anything against it, but no, I don't have anything against the people. You're solid. But then at least like these four major platforms, right? So to do that. So if you search Tegagree, I was shocked when someone told me on Google, like you mostly see me.
Yes.
Right.
You come up like, when I search my name, I'll see like 50 different Jesus.
Right.
Before I scroll, like, then I'll see one picture when I was 5. But like, while I was preparing for this interview, I was like, who is Tegagree? I saw your face, I said, Sandra. God.
I'm not that big, I promise you.
You're so humble, like
It's genuinely, it's just trying to put my face like everywhere, basically. So that's why it's tegagree.com, because I could have used maybe like a Vercel.com, or I could have used like one of these, Wix.com, or whatever. But you spend money on the domain. It's not even about. Of course, it's easier to say what's your website, tegagree.com, like it's easier to say. But then even beyond that, you saturate the internet, and the earlier you start to do that, the better. Because you want to get known for something, what's one thing that will come to your mind when you hear my name, right? There could be a number of things, right? And I assume there are a number of things, but at least what's that one thing that that okay, if you go Tiga to do, he'll be able to do effortlessly, right? And that's why I'm saturating. So if you check my X, my LinkedIn, my Instagram, it's the same thing I'm talking about every single time. My YouTube as well, same thing I'm talking about every single time, is to saturate, everywhere basically, right? And then it's much easier to, build something that's very long lasting.
It's such an ideal of my deals.
Thank you very much.
Do you have anything to tell students who are also trying to pursue a career path? Like, not everyone can balance being a student and also having a career path. Like, I watched your YouTube video, yes, like the last video you posted about balance. I'm like, God, I'm also a student, right? So I also recommend like you watch the video, but let's hear from you.
So what's the question?
Like, what do you tell students who also find it difficult to be a student and to try to pay their career path?
Okay, I get. I think the first thing is to find out what you want to do. But even before that, it's something I've realized, right? And I think it should be good. And it's still like an outflow of what we spoke about before, about books. I talked to a number of people, and genuinely people don't know what they want to do, which is fine, right? It's not like you don't fail because you don't know what to do, it's fine. But then what happens is that they always stop there, right? And I think from the bottom of my heart, so if for example, now it's not just about finance, but if for example you wanted to get into business, right, but you don't know what business to start, you don't know what to do, you don't know anything about money, if you simply read 20 to 30 finance books, I promise you an idea will come out, right? And this is so profound because of course I've been like into personal development and productivity since like 2021, but that wasn't when I came up with the whole coaching program and everything. That was just late last year, right? And it was simply from reading books, and I got the idea like, I guess actually something that people should struggle with. I can help people. So if you don't know what to do, that's the first thing you should start with. Like, just start reading books on, well, it depends on what you want to do, right? If it's finance, then start reading books on that. And if it's personal development, start reading books on that. Then the generic books as well, like Success Principles, Jack Canfield, just read like these generic books and then specific ones as well, and just read copious amounts. My mentor, Sir Bolu, we were talking on the phone like a couple months ago, and he said that when he was in uni, his parents couldn't pay. The reason I'm sharing this because he shared it before publicly. So his parents couldn't like pay his tuition, and everything, right? So to cut the long story short, he made a vow to himself, went covenant, he made a vow to himself that he will not rely only on his parents for that. So I think when he was in 100 or 200 level, he said he was going to read 100 books on finance, and he did that in a year. Like till now, I don't know, man. I don't know how that was possible. But from uni, when he was in about 200, 300, was already making a lot of money. I'm saying like money that people that are done with school don't even like make it and all the rest. And it's just what happens, right? When you give yourself to that much knowledge. So I always like how hungry are you for the kind of person that you want to become? Because that usually is what will drive how fast you're able to take in resources and everything. But then you find out what you want to do. It's very, very important, and this is for everything. Find something that you love and enjoy doing. I know a lot of people say that you shouldn't, like, the advice of do what you love or follow your passion is not really the best because your money is not always your passion. All that is nonsense, to be fair. Right? I think there's what you can do on every single thing. So I don't think every single industry will make you the exact same amount of money. I don't think so. There are simply more industries that are lucrative than other industries, like point blank period. But I believe you can make money out of anything if you do it the right way. If you simply do it the right way. So for example, there are people that and I mean this, I don't mean to shade or to downplay anybody's business, right? But then there are people that would would know how to make hair, for example, and then what they would do is they would start making the hair of like different people and collecting very little. Whereas there are people that could turn that into a full boot camp, teaching you how to do that, right? And of course, the two people have the same skill or similar skills, right? Only that one decided to upskill, learn marketing, learn things like that, and then that's much better. So I think that's just an example. I think that can be done with almost anything, really. But do what you love because that's what's going to keep you in for the long term, right? If you're doing very random things, then you can always just do what you love, something that you enjoy doing, and then just come up with systems and structures. The most basic system that I think is having like a full calendar for your whole week, right? So like I have a calendar, so I know what I'm meant to do, like immediately I leave here, right?
So you need to do something else.
Sorry? So everything works in that. So just like have a calendar for yourself. Find out what it is you want to do. Make sure that thing that you want to do is very, like, it gives you high energy, basically. So even if you're not getting money from it, right, or you're not seeing results, whatever it is, you don't have a problem, following through with it. And then finally come up with a system. And I think the best system is just have a calendar for your week and life.
Well, it has been a pleasure hearing from you, hearing your story, and hearing your points of view on personal growth and life inspiration.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So, thank you very much, and see you next episode of Child Talks.